When we use tempera paint, there's a few rules that we need to keep in mind. First, we know that tempera paint is dry. We have to add the water for it to work on our paper. If I try to use this right now, nothing will happen. So the first thing we do is we dip our paintbrush in the bowl. We wipe it on the side. That way our paintbrush is not dripping. When we have water on our paintbrush, we do not want to tap the bowl. Did any of you see why? It splashes on my paper and makes a big mess. We don't want to get paint on anyone else's paper. We dip and wipe. Now I can choose my color. I might use blue. I swirl my paintbrush gently. You can see my paintbrush still has a good hair day. The paintbrush bristles are not spread out or unhappy. They were all together, smooth like a point. Now that I have paint on my paintbrush, I can add it to my paper. Whenever we paint, we want to go back and forth in a smooth motion. We never want our paintbrush to get a bad hair day, like if we're scrubbing the paper. You can see that my paintbrush is not having a good hair day right now. I want to add some more water to fix my paintbrush. I'm wiping. We always want to go gently back and forth. When I'm done using blue, I can't go straight to my next color because instead of having green, now there would be blue there. You can see on this older set of paints that the yellow doesn't really look yellow anymore. Now I need to clean my brush. I want my brush to touch all the way to the bottom of the bowl to really push all of the paint out. I can swirl it around gently and wipe on the side. I can use a little green. I can swirl gently, still having a good hair day. When my paintbrush has green paint, I can add it to my paper. If you ever have a paint tray that is dirty, you can clean the brush by using a clean paintbrush with water and going right on top of the dirty paint. Clean the paint again, wipe, and go back to the paint. Go back and forth from the water to the paint, and you can see that my yellow is becoming much clearer and not as dirty. Sometimes as the paint gets used, you'll notice that you'll start to see holes. Now, the paint still works fine, but when you use it, you dip your paintbrush like normal, wipe it on the side, and when you go to use your paint, you go around in a circle on the edge so that you can get all the paint that's over here. So one mistake that I see people doing is going in the bottom. Well, there's no paint at the bottom, so that's not gonna work very well. You have to go around and have your paintbrush touch the edge of the circle, and then you can paint like normal. As paint gets smaller and smaller, you'll see this like teal color is almost gone. You can see the white plastic. We're going to keep using it until it's totally gone, and then I can replace it with a new paint puck is what they're called, or paint cake. So I still go around in a circle on the edge of the paint tray. And remember, there's no paint at the bottom, so that's not gonna help me at all. All the paint is this dark blue part on the edge. One thing that also happens sometimes is that the paint might break. If you are using broken paint, you can just go on top of it, and sometimes when it's moving around, you just have to try your best. And if it falls out, you know, just put it back in there. So you might have to kind of move your paintbrush in different ways to try to get the paint, but it will still work and you can still paint with it while it's broken. So we don't want to just throw it away because it still works. When you've used this broken paint enough, you'll see it kind of like melts back together because of all the water, and it reforms again. So this one is kind of melded back together with water. So that will happen with these broken ones. They just broke like yesterday, so that's why they're still dry and kind of separate. Here's a paint tray that's totally empty and ready for a new paint. So now it's ready to be used. The most important rule that we remember not to mix our paint so that everyone can have a clean paint tray with separate colors, that we are dipping and wiping our paintbrush, not tapping because it will splash, and that when we're adding our paint to our paper, we go back and forth with a smooth motion so that our paintbrush always has a good hair day.